Now we're going to continue our budget talks on now. We don't have a billboard right now, but we are going to be chatting with Alpha Sennon, who is the founder and executive director of Y Farm. And now it's time for budget talks on now. Alpha, good morning. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Pastor, good morning, Carrie. Good morning to all the viewers and listeners out there.
Now, yesterday was the big day. It was the presentation of the budget for fiscal year 2021. And we have seen some changes in agriculture, such as a 70% increase in the budget allotment. Tell me your thoughts on this.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think, those in the agricultural sector may be smiling a bit more right now. Of course, still very optimistic as to what we're going to do with this increase.
Right.
While the minister, or the Honorable Colin Imbert, would have identified some areas of focus. Of course, I know, we'll be looking forward to hearing what the Ministry of Agriculture, the Minister of Agriculture, what sort of detail, with regards to this increase. I mean, I like to say that, money definitely don't fix everything. Right? There must be more collaborative approaches.
Right.
We must use the resources, the human resources that we have in the country. Those folks who have been toiling the soil, who have been really championing the causes in Trinidad and Tobago and across the world, to be able to use those people in a good way, of course, to be able to really achieve this national food security that we want to achieve,
And food security is so important in this time, especially when we cannot continue to depend on food imports. I really need to bring down that food import bill. What the minister had outlined in his statement about agriculture, though, was that there's been, paraphrasing here, there's been a legacy of malaise when it comes to the industry for decades. How do you think this injection of funds into the industry will help it, or if it will help at all?
Yeah, well, it can definitely help at different levels. I mean, I saw where he mentioned education, and of course it's having the right approach to education, because it isn't just necessarily just saying, okay, agricultural science, for example, is mandatory in all schools right now. That is nice, that's all well and good to say, but what is the agricultural education that is about to be embedded? And also, are the teachers in the schools actually qualified, or not necessarily qualified, but passionate? Because for several schools who have agricultural education on their curriculum, but they find that the teachers don't really teach it, because they're not passionate about it, they're not aware of the new trends in agriculture, for example. So, my recommendation with regards to that would definitely be having constant trainings, Y Farm going into schools, Agriman going into schools, partnering with the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Agriculture to go into schools to not only excite the children, because we can't go into schools every day, but to excite the teachers as well to pass on that knowledge. And of course, that has to start from the ground up. And that will, of course, rebrand the entire culture moving forward. As I said, money can't fix everything. So, but it could, it will find that, young folks are more attracted now to this industry based on the investment that is being made. We hear about a 500 million investment that is going to be put forward for youth and helping solve the land tenure issue. So I'm really excited and anxious, maybe a bit nervous as well, to hear what's going to happen with that, because you can't do the same thing over and over again and expect different results.
Different result, right? The definition of insanity.
Exactly, right? So we have to be able to now find, okay, how can we do it? Should this just be going to the Ministry of Agriculture hands alone and let them solve it? They don't have all the specialties, they don't have all the technocrats. There's so many other persons in the country who's putting forward themselves to say, hey, I want to be able to help. I want to be able to come up with these plans and these solutions. I saw this model working firsthand in Australia, in Indonesia, persons who have traveled the globe and understand what food systems are like. One of the things that I definitely want to hope that there's a focus on as well is regenerative agriculture. Our agricultural culture here right now is a lot of chemical use. And while farmers may say, well, I don't know what else to do. I mean, I have to make sure this patchoy come looking good, otherwise the groceries won't want it. And I like to say, the little hole on the patchoy That's okay. That means the little insect take a little bite at it. That means it's healthy. So from restaurants, the consumers, the supermarkets, the hotels, farmers, the general layman has to understand that the healthier food is the better food. So these are some of the things, I'm thinking about regenerative agriculture, where we think about the biodiversity, the soil, because if we continue like that as well, our soil type won't be good in 50 years' time. Right. Because it will become so contaminated with all the pesticides and all the sides that we use and the fertilizers that we feel organic, but it ain't really,
Right. Yeah.
So we have to focus on that some more. And of course, these are items that I would want to hear, coming out with the full action plan then for moving forward for the next year.
I like the linkage you made between food and health, because I was chatting with one of our guests earlier, Dr. Angeli Mark, and she suggested that there should be a linkage between, well, food, education, so agriculture, education, and health. What are your thoughts on this?
Of course. I mean, I was having a chat with her yesterday as well, so I'm happy to hear that you were chatting with her, So, I mean, your health is your wealth, and your food is your health. So if your food is your health, then your food is your wealth too, eh?
Right.
So that's a simple math equation, if to call it that, So we must be able to understand the linkages, that because, it's time that we understand that food is our medicine, and that medicine being our food. We run in the pharmacy for everything, but we should be looking towards the farm for everything, right? And I mean, it's interesting that we reach to this place now where we run and buy vitamin C in a pack and in a capsule and whatnot, and where the fruits and vegetables that is there is really our health. And I mean, I always encourage folks as well to eat local, yes. I mean, eat what's in season as well too. Because foods that are in season is the foods that is really there to fight off whatever is in the air at the moment. We kind of move away from that somehow or the other. And I always have the argument too about how much persons in Trinidad and Tobago, some people might vex with me about this one, how much persons in Trinidad and Tobago actually consume a fresh and healthy apple and grapes. So my argument for that is that if you haven't harvested that, or you haven't come close to an apple farm, is it really fresh?
Right.
Yes, it's packaged, it's looking good, it's probably tasting good, but when did we harvest that? Right. We have so much fruits and vegetables here, locally. I mean, of course, we have the problem about supply chain, farmers supplying it, farmers having the right amount of supply for the market, for Price Mart and whoever, because we hear about supermarkets complaining as well. Right. But we could fix that. And with the resources that is now being put into the agricultural industry, we could fix those things, fix those supply chain. We may not have enough land to do everything, but let's maximize the land that we have in Trinidad and Tobago.
Right.
And then we can look to our counterparts, of course, as close as possible, St. Vincent, Dominica, Grenada, Jamaica, Guyana, of course. Look to those counterparts for other foods that we may not be able to maximize the potential on growing.
Well, Alpha, I wish I could chat with you for a longer time, but that is all we have time for this morning. But I want to thank you so much for joining us, and hopefully we can chat again very soon as we continue to disseminate the information that is the 2021 fiscal year budget, and as we continue to chat about agriculture and its importance. But I just want to thank you so much for joining us this morning. All right, so that was Alpha Sennon, founder and executive director of Y Farm. We were chatting on the budget and agriculture. For now, though, we have to go straight to a break, and when we come back, we're going to be speaking with Shamla about Cerebral Palsy Day.